Securities fraud is a major issue and the main people affected by are the general public. Bond Corporation collapsed in 1989 and was the largest corporate collapse in the history up until that point. Founder and director Alan Bond spent 5 years in prison after being charged with deceptive and dishonest conduct. He has since resumed business, which has raised the eyebrows of the integrity of the corporate system. My name is Ivana Vlasis and this is 60 Minutes. One of the main contributing factors to corporations being able to commit securities fraud is the lack of regulation. We're here at Mr. Alan Bond's house and we've got an exclusive interview to get his side of the story. Mr. Bond, Ivana Vlasis, 60 Minutes.
Mr. Bond, nice to meet you.
So Mr. Bond, can you please explain to our viewers why it is that Bond Corporation collapsed?
Well, I believe it was because we committed securities fraud.
And why do you think that you got such a light sentence as a result of something so drastic?
Because they knew I wasn't a criminal.
But you were convicted of dishonest conduct.
But I'm not a bad person. It's a dog-eat-dog world, it's business. People win some, people lose some. And that's the nature of the game.
So you don't feel compassion or guilt towards any of those victims?
Well, my life has changed now, so I have learned from my mistakes.
And what are you currently doing with yourself? In 2003, Mr. Bond created strategic investment with his son. As of 2008, he made the Business Review Weekly's Rich 200 list at the 157th spot with an estimated wealth of $265 million, primarily based on some of his oiling and mining corporations.
As a victim of Alan Bond's crimes, something I just cannot fathom is the fact that he is still working in the corporate sphere, less than 5 years after he ruined my life.
Now we're going to across to an interview that I had with Dr. Carla Chan. She's going to give us a psychological take on why people commit these types of offences. Dr. Chan, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we're investigating the reasons why people would commit securities fraud. Can you please give us a psychological insight?
Yes, I can help in answering that question. Over the years, I've become quite familiar with similarities and trends I have found between various perpetrators of security fraud.
That's very interesting. Would you please be able to enlighten our viewers as to what these trends might be?
Yes, I have noticed similarities. Generally, fraud schemes are planned in advance and where the person is intentionally planning to defraud. This type of person is often behind, for example, Ponzi schemes, offering frauds with no product behind the pitch, and pump and dump schemes. In these situations, the person may be highly creative, cunning, and charming, and may have committed other frauds in the past. A lot of securities fraud occurs due to insider trading.
So would you say that the sentencing is proportionate to the crimes that are committed?
The issue is more about consistency and how consistency can help prevent future crimes from being committed.
Okay. So you're saying that if crimes were convicted accordingly, they would promote such consistency?
Consistent sentences for convicted insider traders could assist in deterring other potential offenders and help to protect against this type of securities fraud. Since insider trading was first prohibited under the statute in Australia, there have been only 13 successful convictions. For the other offenders who have been convicted of insider trading, a wide variety of penalties have been imposed with notable inconsistencies. These inconsistencies arguably undermined attempts to deter other potential offenders in the future, with a resulting loss of confidence in the integrity of Australian securities markets. All available cases in which a conviction for insider trading are obtained, examined, and the resulting sentences compared and analysed. The factors considered to be most relevant in determination of appropriate sentences are identified and compared with each other.
See, I can see how consistency is important for helping the punishment for the crime, but what else can it be good for?
Consistency in sentencing is considered to be important in order to maintain public trust and confidence in the judicial process, as well as to deter potential offenders in the future. However, There is clearly a distinction to be made between consistency in approach and consistency in outcome. Consistency in approach, where the same factors are considered and given similar weight, is the High Court of Australia's preferred interpretation of the consistency which must be aimed for when passing a sentence. Notwithstanding this interpretation, it is accepted that a consistency in approach should also lead to more consistency in outcome.
So, Dr. Chan, if organisations publicise about securities fraud and how it affected their company, do you think it will help raise awareness to avoid future illegal activity?
This may work, however, organisations have fear of losing business or damaging their commercial reputation in the marketplace. Government agencies might also believe that adverse publicity may result in a loss of confidence in voters, whilst financial institutions might believe that publicity of security weaknesses might result in acts of repeat victimisation. Finally, where crime has been committed by those in positions of responsibility within organisations, they may not wish to draw undue attention to their own illegal activities.
Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Chan. That was very informative, and I think our viewers are much more enlightened into the issue of securities fraud.
Not a problem.
The collapse of bond corporations is just one example of how securities fraud can affect a lot of people. Thanks to Dr. Carla Chan, we now have a better understanding as to what types of securities fraud are around and how they are not sentenced enough, and how deregulation is also a major contributor. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. I'm Ivana Vlasis for 60 Minutes.